All right, everyone. Welcome to Simply Bitcoin, the channel that breaks down all the daily Bitcoin news from Twitter, the daily fail, the meme review, software releases, and the website by plebes. We've got it all. Drop us a like and subscribe. Here we go with the numbers.
Moody dashboard.
We're currently at a block height of 661,542. Current Bitcoin price, 19,382. Chain rewrite days 611, and the total lightning capacity 1,079.75 BTC. It's pretty good.
Yep, awesome, looking good. Unfortunately, Satoshi the Bitcoin chicken stays in a chicken coop today because Bitcoin has still not hit an all-time high, but I have a feeling that's gonna come very soon. Knock on wood. Anyways, Phil, it's time for
the daily fail. Let's take a look at this. It's educational video that they put together.
Hey, Xander, let me tell you a story. You need to be discreet about it, so let's call it Bitcoin. Now, that's too obvious. Let's call it BitC. So one day, the rich people wanted to be more rich. So they made this thing up called a BitC. And they convinced the non-rich people that one day it'd be worth over $100,000. So the non-rich people bought into it and made the rich people even more rich, even though it was completely made up. One day, the non-rich people discovered it was completely made up, so the price started going down. So what the rich people do? They bought it back at a discount. But then they posted articles on Forbes and Yahoo saying it was going to be worth $500,000. So the non-rich bought into it again, and the cycle of manipulation starts all over again. BitC, the perfect path of manipulation for the rich to get richer and the non-rich to get non-richer. I'm Curtis Ray. Don't be a non-richer.
Yeah, he's he's irrelevant, Curtis Ray. Yeah. So okay,
is that and
who
why
is that?
and why does he try to sound so smart but be so stupid at the same time?
It sounds completely idiotic. I mean, first of all, if you take a look at especially like a lot of the OG Bitcoiners, I don't really know how loaded they were. Okay. And the reality is that the giant money consortiums were not the original coiners. People like the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers.
No, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like none of those people. So this is just such stupid stuff, like completely ridiculous. And then he goes and makes this retarded name. Anyways, I just, when I see stuff like this, him aside, right? It doesn't even matter who's saying that message. What he did was just incredibly disingenuous and offers absolutely no basis. So regardless of who it was that spread that message, the message itself is completely baseless and ridiculous. So anyways,
yeah,
it's just really sad. It's to see stuff like this.
He thinks do you remember that meme where it's like the low IQ person is like orange coin go up, and then the middle IQ person is like, no way, it's possible, like all these things, and then like the super high IQ person just is like orange coin number go up, right? So like, why do I say this? Why do I bring that meme? And I don't think if I find that meme, I'll pop it up. If I don't, it's irrelevant. But because what I'm trying to say is that when you first get into Bitcoin, it's very rare in your life that you find a system that is everything. It's Bitcoin is it's a type of technology that's such a major disruptor that you will only see this type of thing happen maybe 2 or 3 times in your lifetime, right? So far for us, right? It's been the internet, right? The microchip changed the world, right? But that was back, I think it was in the 1950s and 1960s. That changed the world. The invention of the microchip completely changed everything. The iPhone, communicating, whatever. So those types of inventions, right, really fundamentally change everything. And Michael Saylor said this many times. The internet changed how the world connected with each other. Bitcoin changes everything in finance. People either realize that now, or you're going to realize 20 years down the road when whatever type of currency you're using, whether it's Bitcoin or whether it's a fiat backed by a Bitcoin, because governments are going to do that shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's still going to be there. It is the foundation of a new monetary system that's going to liberate fucking mankind. And I'm cursed and I'm sorry. But and this guy thinks he knows it all, and he's doing a lot of damage because there's a lot of TikTokers, which tend to be Zoomers, that are listening to this guy. And obviously the production of that video was amazing. Did you see the different camera angles? It's a lot of work. There's a lot of editing involved in that video. And he thinks he's smart, right? But he's completely wrong. And it was invented by a guy or a girl that we don't know of. And for the first 2 years, it had no value. It had a virgin birth. He didn't know whether it was going to work or not. So this idea that it was going to make the rich people rich and whatever, dude, no, it's for everybody. Everybody could be involved, right? So
that's just a fool.
Yeah, F that guy. Anyways,
but it's kind of also. I just wanted to point out another thing on that TikTok account. It says that they're tier 1 analysts.
Wait, what?
I mean that is just, that's scary stuff, man. Yeah. I don't know who actually gave them a rating. I'm pretty sure they just rated themselves. So, you got to be careful, self-proclaimed experts,
Yeah, dude,
it's just ridiculous. Guys, be warned, beware.
Look, we've survived. Okay. We've survived the many bullshit, like market, the bear market, whatever, this and that. And this has just solidified our belief in this, right? And it's like this cycle that you have to go through. When you initially first meet the rabbit hole, you think you know it all, but it takes, I would say, years for you to fully understand and appreciate how special Bitcoin is. And Phil, it's time for
the Daily Meme Review.
I pulled up this meme before I did the proper introduction, but it will look nice in the editing. Anyways, I found this hilarious. It's brought to us by ICO Offender. Ooh, clever name. Yellow Popcat. Let's check it out. It's Roger Ver in an interview. But how could this be a meme? Let's find out.
Cash has a more legitimate claim to being the Bitcoin that was outlined in the Bitcoin.org website at this point. So yes, that's my position. Me, I'm not interested in continuing this. It's Bitcoin Cash. Get it straight. And if you do that again, I'm going to end the interview because I'm not interested in being insulted. Okay, I'm promoting Bitcoin Cash. Insulted here. I'm being insulted. I don't need to be insulted by you. I have enough money. I was a self-made multimillionaire before I ever got involved in Bitcoin. I don't need to have my buttons pushed by people like you on the internet. This interview is over. I don't need to be insulted. I was a self-made millionaire before I even got involved in Bitcoin. Now I have you. If you do that again, I'm going to end the interview because I'm not interested in being insulted, okay? I've never hired a single soft puppet. I don't need to be insulted.
Oh my God, dude. Wait.
Okay.
Dude, let me ask you something. I think that was he did that original interview with John, right?
That's right. That was with Bitcoin Error Log.
So, dude, and the hash rate has just remained the same since then, and the price has just took an 80% nosedive since the all-time high. Dude, there's a part of me that feels bad for Roger Ver. Kinda, not really.
For him. Man, he's choosing to go down with the ship.
Yeah, and I have a feeling he regrets it. I'm gonna give that an 8, Phil.
Give it an 8. So that one has a real soft spot for me.
Well,
going with a 10.
So why do you give it a 10?
Well, that interview is probably one of the first kind of interviews I ever really saw in the Bitcoin space. Like after my my tumble into the rabbit hole, and I had watched that interview, and I had seen another one with Bitcoin Error Log and Shinobius with Vinny Lingham.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it just holds special relevance because I saw that interview, not this version of it, and John was totally on point. Okay, he was he was ready and he had all the right answers and he pushed all the right buttons. And anyways, that's why I gave it such a high grade.
Yeah,
Personal preference. How about you?
I never saw that interview, but that clip is famous, right? About him just completely losing his cool. And we had John on Simply Bitcoin, and he's a really cool guy, obviously really smart guy, definitely a Bitcoin OG, and yeah, man, it's just hilarious.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's a great interview, and people should definitely check it out. You could just go on YouTube and just. We'll put a link in the show notes. That's cool.
Okay, we'll put a link in the show notes.
I'll find it for you.
Phil, it's time for
the Daily News, sponsored by
Crypto Cloaks. All right, guys, it's really not a heavy day on news, but this is kind of a big deal. This is before my class of 2016, but this document, it's legalese. It's pretty easy to read, but it's basically, this is the trustee of the infamous Mt. Gox. For anyone that doesn't know what Mt. Gox is one of the OG Bitcoin exchanges. I think of the 2015, 2013 era. I might be mistaken there a little bit on the time, but essentially this was the OG Bitcoin exchange. It did end up getting hacked, and a lot of people lost their Bitcoin, and it was an absolutely huge amount of Bitcoin because back then Bitcoin wasn't worth that much, right? This caused the crash of, I think it was 2013 when Bitcoin pumped from, I think it was under $100 all the way up to 1,000, and then it had this massive crash down to 300, and it stayed like that for 2 years because other exchanges had to take its place, right? So it's just a bunch of legalese. It really isn't, it really isn't important, the document. But the piece of news that is important, guys, is that the trustee has access to 141,600 Bitcoin, and he's about to, and this is what this notice is saying, and he's about to finally give it back to all the people that got hurt by that hack. So many years down the road, right? So, yeah. Anyways, this is another lesson, guys. Not your keys, not your cord. Whenever you buy something on an exchange, make sure to withdraw that and keep it in your possession as soon as possible. Phil, what are your thoughts on all this?
Yeah, so there's going to be, look, there's going to be some pretty rich people all of a sudden, right? All of a sudden, some people who thought their Bitcoin was gone may not be gone. So that's pretty cool. But 100%, harping on the point of not your keys, not your coin. I lost money on exchanges back in 2017, exchanges that disappeared. Yeah, that was my fault, right? I was warned. I was absolutely warned. And I'm like, as with everything else, you just figure, well, it's not just going to go away. No, it really does just go away. That's what happens. Things happen and it's gone. So it's pretty scary stuff. So yes, it's worth it. Take the time to learn about a hardware wallet. And if you want to just run the Bitcoin Core client, you can do that as well. And you can simply, either do that behind a VPN or even behind Tor. There's lots of stuff out there for that. So either way,
sorry, Phil.
No, I was just saying, either way, you can store your Bitcoin off of an exchange where you can control its destiny, right?
Amen, brother. You're exactly right. And the minimum, just get a hardware wallet.
At the very least.
You don't even need to get a cold card. Just get a ledger. Use a fake email. Make sure so when they leak it, or get it.
You can't tell people to. Okay, you know what? Get a Trezor.
Get a Trezor. Okay? Yeah, get a Trezor.
They now have a beta desktop app. It's really great. Or they have the online stuff. Yeah, we can't say. I'm sorry, we can't do it.
Good. Rip me a new one in the comments, guys. But yeah, get a Trezor, man. And then
they might rip me one.
And then when you guys feel like learning more, obviously the best hardware wallet. The best hardware wallet on the market that we recommend, I know Phil and I both recommend this, is obviously the cold card. And eventually, you know, it feels exactly right. You could run your own node. And it sounds complicated, but all you got to do is just download Bitcoin Core for on a computer that you don't use, and you know, and that's it. Did it freeze? Okay. Okay, so let's move on to the next piece of news. Okay, so again, like I said, guys, we don't have that much news for today, but I found this really interesting. It was a quiet day. What could I say? But yesterday was absolutely wild. So Square, which is Square Crypto, obviously, which is a part of Square, Crypto's 20th grant will support Bitcoin design and user experience. I love this. Okay. Obviously, I don't like that Square Crypto, you know, basically supports everybody, but this I found super cool. It was awarded to Portuguese software designer Patricia Esteval, if I pronounce that correctly. For her grant proposal, the UX designer will use the funding to research Bitcoin user experience, specifically why people use Bitcoin and what hurdles may obstruct their use. This is an excellent problem that needs to be solved. Just to give it a small quote, you know, from the person that did get awarded this, I'm thrilled that I'm finally be able to work on an in-depth Bitcoin user experience, and I'm even more excited that it will have the clear purpose of shaping future design decisions within the Bitcoin ecosystem. Okay, look, that's awesome. And shout out to Square for supporting Bitcoin. Because remember, guys, Bitcoin's open source. It's only funded. These developers, man, they're so talented, but they work solely on donations. So the fact that Square took an initiative to like make this foundation to award grants now, right? And they're improving on one of the hardest problems to solve in Bitcoin, in my opinion, and one of the biggest barriers to entry to people self-custodying Bitcoin, right? Which is the UX UI problem, right? There's also the custody problem that is being solved. There's a lot of good companies doing that, but there's also the UX UI. And especially if you're over the age of, I would say 45, 40, then you start to see the older generation struggle a lot, right? Because they don't understand that. And you fix that by making the UX UI as easy to understand that a 5-year-old could use it, right? So I don't know. I really like that. I really appreciate it by Square. What do you think about this, Phil?
Yeah, I think that's I think it's fabulous that that's exactly what they're tackling, because I do agree that that is, you know, probably one of the biggest fails for any product is the user experience. Okay. Like if you don't have the user experience down packed, if you can't tailor an experience to the way that something should flow when they use it, then you are instantly going to fail. I work in software and hardware. I work with developers, both hardware and software developers. And I can tell you that, you know, a lot of times it's difficult to get them to look at the product from the user perspective. And as a result, they, you know, often end up making products that are geared towards other engineers rather than the average user. You know, the average user isn't as technical, and, you know, but they still are interested. So right now, you know, like I could tell you, since 2017, the barrier to entry has lowered greatly. Okay. There was a lot of projects that weren't available to people like me because I'm not you know, I can't write, you know, crazy code. Like I do some basic stuff, and, you know, the development that has come along has really helped people like me be able to get into Bitcoin and be able to, you know, contribute, not necessarily to Bitcoin Core, of course, but to doing these Lightning projects and stuff like that, you know, like the Lightning ATM, and getting involved with the Raspberry Blitz, or, you know, doing any one of those Lightning terminals. Like that's fun stuff, you know, and it teaches. So anyways, yes, the user experience, it's great to see that, you know, companies like Square are donating, you know, to actually get this moving along, because it is a huge barrier to entry. So, and it's being tackled. So it's nice.
Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely agree. And just to add to your point, Phil, like it's so important that that if you love Bitcoin, just contribute a little bit, right? And you know, I personally I don't have the, you know, the skills to put together a Lightning terminal, or maybe I can, but that's not what interests me. So Phil and I just make content. That's our contribution, right? And that helps along the cause just as much as, you know, someone making the actual putting the code, because it's fighting on a different front, right? There's so many fronts that we need to fight for crypto. Why did I say crypto? You guys are going to murder me. Sorry. I fell asleep. Okay. I'm tired. I meant Bitcoin. Okay. I'm probably going to cut that out. Anyways. Yeah, there's so many fights. There's so many fights that we need to fight, and you could just contribute in your own way. There's a lot of people that are just artists, and they make the memes, they make the propaganda, and you know, that's good enough, right? So leave it at that, Phil. There was a software release today. Why don't you tell us about it?
Okay, before we get into the software releases, meme lords are required. Okay, like it's amazing. So just to go on to your point, okay, software releases. BTCPay Server version 1.0.6.3, and the link to that will be in the show notes down below.
Awesome. Thank you, Phil. That's a big one. BTCPay Server, I would say, is literally the most important project in the space. And it's free, right? It's open source, it's free. So that's definitely a big update. And Phil, thank you for that. And guys, thank you so much for tuning into another episode of Simply Bitcoin. Like I said before, I fell asleep. It's like already 8:30 at night, so we're a little slow today. And there's not that much news. But anyways, if you guys like the show, don't forget to smash that like button. If you guys love the show, of course, subscribe and hit that notification bell. And we'll see you tomorrow on another episode of Simply Bitcoin.